What's up, Schmucks? Thanks for joining us. Today we got Cierra Monica.
And for once, my face is not covered.
It's true because she's over there. And over here we have Alex Blankenship.
Hi.
And then we got your host, Miguel Rubiero. So guys, what movie did we see this week?
Lady Bird.
That movie. We saw Lady Bird. All right, quick thoughts. Let's give like a tweet, right? Like 140 characters or less. What did you think about the movie? And then we'll come back to you, Alex.
All teenage girls and their moms should watch this film.
Fair enough.
I think it's good for people to watch, to kind of like reflect about themselves and to be the best version of themselves and to be yourself.
Yeah, and that's definitely a theme that's brought up a few times in the movie. I personally, right? Spoiler alert. I think it's a well-made film. I think it's very relevant for particular people. I just happen not to be one of those people. Really didn't like the main character. She's very annoying, though it's also a very realistic portrayal of a teenage girl.
I agree.
It's a very realistic take on a teenage girl, and you know, there's definitely aspects of teenageism. The condition of being a teenager.
The condition.
The reality.
Yeah, that from both genders in there. I mean, I think it's a really good representation of that phase in everybody's life.
Right.
But that's part of the reason I don't like that character. And not, it's not that I think it's a fault of the movie. I think the movie did what, they executed what they meant to execute. She's supposed to be kind of not controversial, but like
misfit.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to like absolutely love her. You're not supposed to hate her either. She's just a human being.
Right.
But yeah, you mentioned that about her parents. That's a great thing for her parents to do. It just frustrated me that she and most teenagers in that instance wouldn't have the perspective or the knowledge to like be aware of the damage that they're doing to themselves to help her. Because she could have just gone to college in state and it would have saved her parents so much trouble. Yeah. So it's just a little bit of...
But I think it's like amazing that it almost makes me think, because I mean, I can relate to it because my parents do everything in their power. It's almost like they moved like mountains for her, and I think that was just like amazing, and I think parents should do that if they're able to do it,
Can I help you?
You just look like you might want to say something.
I really just agree. Like, even, once again saying this, despite the tumultuous relationship
That's
between...
a good word there. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Between her and her mother, even at the end, it still feels like her mother, not necessarily okay with her going to New York, but she still wants to be able to support her daughter, going through this. And I think somebody said it in the movie. I can't remember if it was Shelby or what. Or no, it was the dad. The dad said that the mom's frustrated.
Because
I remember something like that.
She says that she's frustrated because she feels like she can't do for Lady Bird what she wants to be able to.
Right.
And in the end, it kind of seems like they might have been able to do that.
Going back to the mom, the actor was great. I don't know her name, unfortunately, but yeah, she was great. Insert name here. But yeah, you feel her pain 100%. And she kind of has a presence the whole movie, even when she's not on screen. She has maybe 10 or 15 minutes of screen time, but you definitely feel like she's there. I don't want to say watching over Lady Bird, but her presence has an influence on Lady Bird throughout the whole movie. She definitely has a presence.
I honestly felt bad for the dad, though.
Yeah, the dad, too.
I don't know. He was just trying to do so much good, but...
Can I be honest? When I saw him, like in that scene where they're in the bathroom, I thought it was like Lady Bird's mom's dad.
Oh.
I thought it was her grandfather. I was like, damn, he old. And then she was like, me and your dad are in here. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, sir.
Sorry, sir, she says to the TV that cannot interact with her. They kept going back to the bathroom. A lot of things happen in bathrooms in this movie. Yeah.
This is going to sound weird, but like my happy place and thought of contemplation is the bathroom.
You know what? I think a lot of people would share that opinion.
Yeah, and so I really appreciate and respect that. And
well,
also,
you spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm pretty sure I've had similar conversations with my mom while in a bathroom. It's what you do. It's neutral territory.
It's neutral territory. It's Switzerland.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was good.
My happy spot is a It's a 1x2 spot in the corner of my room where I just stand and look into the. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, wow, that got deep.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, I just stand there with a tub of Haagen-Dazs. I think the movie also does a really good job of making you like retroactively reconsider situations or scenes. Because there are some scenes that are presented like initially in one light, and then something will happen later on in the movie and call attention back to that scene. And because of things you've learned since then, you feel very differently about it. For example, there's a scene when they're involved in the school's theater, and so there's a scene right after the debut of their show where it's made very clear that it was not a good show. And then the art director is like outside, like slumped in a chair, just like really sad. And it's kind of funny in a weird way at first. And he's like one of the students walks up to him and he's like, they didn't get it. And like I said, it's kind of funny. But then later you find out that character tries to kill himself. And so it's like, like it calls attention back to that scene and it takes on a very different meaning.
Yeah, especially the scene where he starts crying immediately. In their little improv games. Like, it goes from them running around, having fun, and then he's like, okay, the winner is the person who can make themselves cry first. And he won.
he won by a lot.
And also, this brings me back to the house, that blue house. In the beginning, I think, middle, Lady Bird and her friend would always walk past it and, like, look at it and be like, oh, this is where we're going to live. And then... fast forward, she gets the boyfriend, and the gay one's grandma lives there, and she's just like, oh my gosh, this is the house that we always stared at and were like obsessive with. And then she like actually met and started to get to know the person who lived in it. So
I like when they're at the concert and she turns to Julie and she's like, hey, it's Danny's grandma who lives in our dream house. Just so you know, I'll get to inherit that. And Julie's like, what about his parents? And she's like, oh, we'll have to kill them. Like, just logical. Duh.
Yeah, it doesn't even think about it. Like, oh yeah, I mean, we'll have to kill them, and probably all his brothers too, because they're older than him. But then I get the house.
Right.
That reminds me of the line where when she's trying on the dresses for prom and she's talking with her mom, and she's like, but do you like me? What if this is the best version of me that I can be?
I thought that was so sad.
It depressed me, and it made me think about all the other crap she did.
Yeah. But I think, like, there's some parts of that relationship, the mother and daughter relationship, that I see in a lot of people, and I think it's fine, but I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know. I just felt like the mom was, like, super naggy. Like, she just was, like, on her case over and over. So I kind of understood why Lady Bird was like, well, this is the best version of me. And she was still a kid, Like, I mean, she was getting older and stuff, but I mean, like, give her a break. Let her be who she wants to be. Yeah, I felt like the mom was trying to make her something that the mom wanted her to be so she could have more, which is understandable. I mean, I get that. But, like, I personally didn't like it.
Well, I also think the mom just kind of sees the contradiction in Lady Bird's actions, where she says she wants these things, and then she doesn't work hard at anything.
Right.
So it's like the mom is just frustrated.
Yeah,
and, when you're frustrated and, like, living with that person is like your bread and butter for some reason. Like, a lot of parents would describe their kids as the reason that they live. Like, that's what they live for. I can imagine that it would make you a little bitter when that person just, everything you do for them and stuff, and they're just not.
The scene that had me, like, really crying was when the mom didn't blow up after the wait list. So Lady Bird got waitlisted for one of the New York colleges that she applied to. Her mom didn't know. Her dad helped her do this behind their mother's back. And the mother found out after Lady Bird's graduation at dinner. Which
the way she finds out is kind of hilarious, because the gay boyfriend comes up to them at the table, comes up to her family at the table, like, hey, how you guys, hey, what's up with the wait list? And then cuts to the dad, and he just, like, puts a spoon down and goes, oh, fuck.
I think that was harsh, the way that she found out, but hey, she wasn't going to let it happen, so the dad had to do something. Yeah. I totally understand. I get it. Yeah. I mean, she was just so hard, like, no. And, like, what are you going to do? And, like, that's your kid. Like, I don't know. I just think that the dad was in the right for doing that. Yeah. And he is a parent, so he does have that right. Yeah.
Well, I think, if you're getting into that, I would argue that they should have talked about it and, come to a decision as a team.
Oh, yeah, they definitely should have. But it's almost like the mom closed off. Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, but then, like, you find out that to go to that school, they have to refinance their house, which is not a small thing that could potentially ruin a person financially. So it's like the mom wasn't willing to make that sacrifice when there are plenty of worthy colleges in California, which is where they are.
That's
so
true.
I kind of see where she's coming from. I agree that she didn't go about it the best way. Right. She was too head fast, and she wouldn't sit down and talk like you said.
Yeah.
But I think she was the voice of reason. Like, speaking, like, on paper. Like, the dad was the more calm one, but if you just look at their reasons on paper, the mom's made more sense.
But yeah, the mom was realistic and, like, not willing to go that mile, while as the dad was like, this is my daughter. So it's like looking at it from two different perspectives, which, I mean, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there isn't any harm in applying, and that was one thing which annoyed me about it. Is that, like, she didn't even want Lady Bird to apply. And I know, like, you could get hopes up.
What's the reason to apply if not that you want to go?
Well, it's not like she's going to get in.
Well, but she did.
I know,
she got into one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. But also, I mean, you should know this, because you're applying. I'm sure you've been applying to colleges recently.
Yeah.
It costs like $60 or $90 an application.
Yep, that's true.
So she applied to 3. That's anywhere from $180 to $270.
She paid for her own application fees.
Yes, but she could have used that money to help the house because their father doesn't have a job because he gets laid off halfway through the movie. So she could have used that money to buy herself clothes, buy herself books.
That's very true. That is true.
And then her parents don't have to worry about buying her clothes or buying her books.
She's still the child.
Like, she's still in high school, and I know it comes to a maturity level of the kid. Like, I mean, a kid might not, which she's not at that maturity level. Like, I'm sure we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But then there is other mature people that would look at the situation. But I think her character would never do that.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, again, no fault on the movie. I'm not saying that the movie is a fault of the movie. It's just, I think it's a fault of the character.
Yeah.
In that, like, because
true.
She's 18. She's an adult, so she should start thinking like an adult. And I totally agree, like, people mature at a different pace. When I was 18, I was probably along the lines of her character, and that's why I hate her so much. That's why I'm so frustrated, because I probably would have done pretty much every decision that she makes in this movie. Talking about maturity, like, again, it's understandable what level of maturity she's at, but the situation she's in calls for a higher level of maturity.
That is true.
So it would have been nice to see her step up, because, you see, like, 13 and 14-year-olds having jobs to help support their family.
Yeah.
She's 8, like, you know what I mean? It's just have some perspective on the world. I think I've talked about everything that I want to talk about. What about you guys?
Just something I want to mention. I like the scene at the end where she goes back to the Catholic Church after she makes it to New York for college. She's at her first college party. She gets too drunk. She has to go to the hospital because, like, she's dehydrated or whatever. They just leave her there, let her recover. And when she wakes up, instead of, like, going back to her dorm, she goes to a Catholic church, like, it's Sunday Mass. And that, I felt, was a nice callback to where she came from. And it almost felt like a comfort thing.
Yeah.
Because we see, as she's at the party, she doesn't look like she feels like she belongs totally.
Just understandable. Brand new city and stuff.
Exactly.
Well, actually, speaking of the party, right before she walks to the Catholic Church, she gets alcohol poisoning at the party, and she wakes up in the hospital. And so they release her, and she calls her mom, or calls her parents. They don't pick up, and so she leaves a very heartfelt voicemail about how basically she misses home, and how now that she's here, she stepped away from the elephant. She can see the whole thing. She sees how lucky she was in Sacramento and whatnot. And then she goes to the church. But at the party, so that shows a lot of growth. Yeah. But at the party, for example, and this may be just me nitpicking, but she's talking to this dude, and he's like, "Where are you from?" And initially she says, "My name's Christine." She gives her given name, not Lady Bird, because I think Lady Bird the whole movie was a way of her rebelling against her parents.
Yeah.
So she says Christine, which shows, like, kind of acceptance of her identity and where she came from. And then she said, when the guy doesn't hear her, and she's like, "Where did you say you were from?" She goes from saying Sacramento to San Francisco to seem more important, I guess, or more worldly. So it was like, Grove? No. So all right, I think that's going to draw us to a close. Closing thoughts, right? So tweet, 140 characters, go.
I really liked this movie, and I love Saoirse Ronan. Shout out to you, girl.
Alex, closing thoughts. What do you think?
It was a really interesting movie. It definitely wasn't one of my favorites, and I wouldn't like see it again. But it's definitely something to make you think.
I think it's a great exploration of what it is to be a teenager, specifically a teenage girl. But there's, you know, it's not exclusive to that. There's plenty of ideas and thoughts that you know teenage males can take away from it. And it's just a great representation of that time period in so many people's lives. I think I wasn't crazy about it. You know, it's a well put together film. I'll give it that. Like Alex, I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I recognize that it has its value in that, you know, it's giving people representation, specifically teenage girls. I don't think they have a lot of good or accurate or respectful representation in general in film.
That's true, because it's always about finding a boy and, you know, live happily ever after.
Exactly.
Or the hero, so they save the day. I mean, so this was good.
Definitely.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, and what's even bigger is that it's nominated for Best Picture. So the fact that it's up for Best Picture and Best Actress, it's, you know, pretty significant, especially because it's giving the cast a platform. You know, the cast being mostly female. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And having a female main character.
Yeah. The acting in it is great. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to entertain and inform y'all. If you want to stay entertained and informed, right, subscribe below. If you want to suggest movies for the future, do the same and leave a comment.
If you like what we do here, go ahead and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, like our Facebook page. All of that is just @CinemaSchmucks.
Yes.
Give this video a big thumbs up.